Hello, Marshall Reddick clients, and welcome to our webinar presentation on the Clarksville, Tennessee and Oak Grove, Kentucky market. We are very excited for everyone that has joined us tonight and want to dive right in. So grab your popcorn, get your soda, and let's get started. So a little bit about me. I'm Kristen Tabar. I'm your real estate advisor and realtor and hostess with the mostest for tonight's presentation. I have the pleasure of being joined by our Clarksville realtor, Malika Womack, and we'll bring her in a little later in the presentation. But a little bit about me for those of you who have not met me or seen my photos before. I've been with Marshall Reddick for about 4 years now. My husband, handsome guy there in the middle, and Scott Pastel, our vice president, actually went to high school together. And we rekindled that relationship at their 10-year high school reunion, got to talking about what everyone was up to, and turned out that Jason and I were investing in rental real estate, and Scott owned a company that helps people do just that. So it was kind of a match made in heaven, and when the realtor position opened up, seemed like kind of a natural fit. So really excited to have had the opportunity to not only work with a company that Jason and I ended up buying property from, but then being able to practice what I preach and share my experience and everything with my clients as well. Cute little guy on the four-wheeler is my son JT. He's 4, and my daughter Cassie is 2. So a little bit about me. I know everyone has their own kind of goals and what they're looking forward to as far as why we go to work and why we invest. And ultimately, I want to spend more time with those cuties. So that's why, I'm doing what I'm doing and why I love helping investors to, build their portfolios and get your own properties under your belt so that ultimately you can get closer to your goals as well. So moving on, a little bit about Marshall Reddick Real Estate for those of you who are joining us tonight, maybe for the first time. If this is your first event that you're on with us, welcome. And again, I do thank you all for coming. We are a full service real estate, property management, and private lending brokerage. Our headquarters is here in Newport Beach, and we have offices across the nation, which I'll get into also a little bit later. But what's unique about Marshall Reddick is that we help our clients to purchase rental real estate, manage rental real estate, and finance using private money, in addition to having the connections and having the team in place for our clients to really have a seamless transition from beginning to end and then into management and for the life of their investment. So as far as lenders, tax preparers, attorneys, you name it, we have someone that we can refer to our clients or that works in-house, and we can really help everybody from start to finish and make the transaction very smooth and seamless and easy. So these are the markets I mentioned. We're in 16 across the nation. Those red boxes that you see with the little MR symbol are actually markets where Marshall Reddick has our very own office. So in all of our other states and markets where you don't see a red outline, those are markets where we work with our amazing third-party teams that we've been working with and working with our clients for several years. And we've had the privilege and opportunity to open up our own brick-and-mortar offices in some of our very popular markets, including Clarksville, Tennessee. So we're really happy that now in that market, not only do we get to assist our clients with chatting about the criteria and learning more about your plan and helping you to create a strategy for that, but your team is all in-house. So we really have the ability to work with everyone from start to finish, be a part of the management and be a part of your property as long as you own it and you're working with us. So really excited that we opened our office there at the end of last year, and are continuing to have great inventory and service our clients there. So how did we land on those 16 markets, and why did we decide that we wanted to open our own office in Clarksville? Well, there's several criteria that Marshall Reddick as a company looks at when we are evaluating markets to determine whether or not we feel that there are strong investment areas for our clients to purchase property. So here are those 7 things that we look at. And as we go through the presentation and we hear from Malika, look at some statistics about the area, you'll start to see that Clarksville, Tennessee, Oak Grove, Kentucky really check off all of these boxes, which makes it not only a strong market for investors, but also a great area for people to live, which really work hand in hand for your portfolio and your property to be profitable and to stay rented, things to that nature. So we're excited about the market and the strength that it's had, the growth that it's experiencing. So moving right along, Clarksville and Oak Grove share the border. They're part of the same metropolitan area. So Malika is licensed in both states and able to represent all of our clients on both sides of the border. And you'll see properties tonight in our presentation from both states. Allows us to cover a lot of area and really provide a wide variety of inventory for everyone, regardless of what you're looking for criteria-wise or your purchase price. We really are able to find something for everybody, which is really unique to this market. So without further ado, I want to introduce Malika Womack. She's been a Marshall Reddick agent now since we opened our office there. And prior to that, our clients have had the privilege of working with her as our referral partner in the market for many, many years. She's an excellent realtor. She's responsive, attentive. She answers her phone all the time. Even if I call her and I think it's way too late and she's never going to answer, she will. She replies to text messages. Really all about customer service and taking care of our clients. So Malika, I'm going to hand it over to you, let you talk a little bit about the new office and what's going on out there.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for attending and finding out about the market here in Clarksville. I'm super excited for our call tonight, and I want to tell you everything about the market here and what we're doing as far as real estate. Of course, you know, as you can see, we opened up our own office here in Clarksville, and we are doing big things. We full-fledged. We do sales, leasing, anything in, you know, real estate. We're doing it here in Marshall Reddick. We have 2 other employees in the office as well as myself. You have Josh Simmons and Christina Works, and I'll get a little deeper into them in just a minute. But we manage all different type of properties here. We do single family. We manage multi-families on both sides of the state, on Tennessee and Kentucky. Okay. So meet our real estate team. You have myself, Malika Womack. As Kristen has told you, I'm licensed in Tennessee and Kentucky. I work with all my Marshall Reddick buyers and all the Marshall Reddick sellers. So if you are a buyer, you're looking to invest in this market, I will be the correct person to contact. If you are, what are you doing, Kristen?
Sorry, I was answering a question and I didn't have my mouse clicker in the correct place. So sorry, everyone. I'm not having a seizure. I'm back.
No problem. But I work with the buyers. If you want to buy a property in this market, then I will be the right person for you to contact, and I will help you and walk you through that process. I also work with sellers too. So if you are one of our long-term clients that have properties in this market that you want to sell, you can contact me for that as well. Christina Works is our leasing agent. I think she's been licensed for a couple of years now, like 2 years, but she's familiar with property management too. So she has a lot of insight. She knows Clarksville. So she's really good at getting your property rented up and giving you a call or email letting you know what's needed in your property to, what the feedback is coming from the tenants that she's showing the property to. So she's really good at getting your property leased up in a quick amount of time. Like, we try to have your property rented within 3 to 4 weeks. We don't want your property being vacant no longer than that. And, a lot of times we're able to get it, rented in like 10 to 12 days. We're able to get your property leased up with a new tenant. So that's a little bit about Christina and myself. Property management side. So Joshua Simmons is the property manager. His background, he came from a apartment complex in Nashville. So he already had a little experience in property management. It's a little new for him in reference to single family property management, but like just the basis, he already knew that. So he's really good at reaching out to owners, letting you know what's going on with your property, what kind of repair requests the tenants are requesting. If there's something that needs to be done to your property, some type of repairs or a TLC, like maybe you just need your house pressure washed or something like that, and the curb appeal is not where it should be. He'll get in contact with you and let you know like what the recommendations are, because we want to make sure that your properties are kept up to par, they're looking good, easy to be rented, that they're being maintained correctly, your preventative maintenance is being done like it's supposed to be done. So Josh is really good at that. I'll also tell you a little bit about our management structure as far as, if you sign up with us to have your property management once you invest and buy a property. We have a flat fee of $75 if you're under a certain percentage. It's 7% management fee, but our minimum is $75. So it's $75 if you are under a certain amount, but anything over that will be the full 7%. And if you're multifamily, it'll be $50. The leasing fee is 50% of the rent. However, we have a minimum of $450. So if you have a property and your property is like $795 a month for rent, you'll pay that $450 for the leasing fee. But if it's like $500, if it's $1,000, you'll pay $500. So that's the difference. I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because I know some owners have been kind of confused about that, about the minimums. So if you have any questions or anything like that, just give me a call, send me an email, and I'm glad to talk to you about that in depth. Unlike some property management.
Oh, sorry, real quick, I just wanted to jump in for anyone out there who isn't 100% sure. That lease fee is only going to apply when a new tenant is placed. So if you purchase a property that is already occupied, that leasing fee will not apply to you. And if at the end of your tenant's lease term, they decide to stay and re-sign for another 12 months, that leasing fee will also not apply. So the lease fee is only applicable if a brand new tenant is placed.
Also, Kristen, the leasing fee is only once a year. So let's just say this, being that we're here in Clarksville in a military town, sometime we might have a situation where you get a tenant moves in, and then 3-5 months later, the tenants get orders to leave, to get deployed or something. So if they leave and then we have to release your property, if it's within that 12-month cycle, you won't be charged again. So that leasing fee is good for 12 months. So you won't have to pay it twice in a year if your tenant, has to, leave because of orders or something like that. Also, at Marshall Reddick, we don't have a lease renewal fee. There are some property management companies that if your tenant comes in and re-signs a new lease, that they actually charge you. I've seen it been $350, but we don't charge you anything. It's our pleasure to, after your 12 months, if we feel like the property can withstand a rent increase, we will reach out to the tenant. We'll reach out to you first as the owner, asking you, do you want us to, increase your rent? And then if you say yes, then we'll contact the tenant, send them out a letter saying that the owner, wants to increase your rent, and we'll go from there. Either they'll come in and, they'll resign their lease and you'll get the rent increase, or they might, say, hey, I don't want to pay any more than what I'm paying. I'm going to give my 30-day notice. So we'll talk to you and kind of get a feel for where your tenant is at and let you know what we think are the best options. But there's no fee to you for renewing your lease. And also no upcharge on maintenance. That means that if your tenant does a repair request and they have a plumbing issue, or if they have any kind of like AC issue or something like that, we just send a vendor out, and the vendor, submits the invoice after they do the repair. That is all you're going to pay. We're not going to charge you an extra 10 to 15% and do a markup, and then the property management company makes that 10 or 15%, and then you pay, but you're paying it all. We don't do that. Whatever the bill is what the bill is. There's no markup.
Thanks, Malika. So since we've talked a little bit about management and what that looks like, we are going to dive right into some exclusive inventory that we are showcasing tonight on the presentation. You guys will see 6 different properties today. And prior to jumping right into that, I want to kind of show you guys a little bit about what we offer in the market. So Clarksville is very unique in many ways. I've already mentioned a few, but we also offer a broad spectrum of inventory in this area. So you'll see 2 examples from each of these categories you see on your screen. MR Rent Ready means that the property has been renovated or rehabbed, and when you purchase it, it will either be occupied with a tenant or will be being marketed for a tenant. So this is the most hands-off option that we have in this particular area, and works well for our clients who maybe work 40 to 80 plus hours a week, don't want to be as hands-on, want to have a more passive investment where they're just collecting income once a month and don't really have to spend a lot of time or energy managing this part of their portfolio. The wholesale option is for those folks who want to be a little bit more hands-on and want to build the value into the home rather than paying closer to retail value for a product that's already complete that they don't have to worry about. So the wholesale option is going to be more risky and is going to be much more time consuming for the investor who chooses to go that route. And then finally, you have your standard sale. This is property that's listed for sale on the local MLS. And these are properties that you may find on Zillow or Realtor.com that Malika would help us to make an offer for. So you'll see on the property slides what type of property it is. So that way you guys can kind of know and follow along as Malika shares a little bit more about the property, its location. And if you have any questions as we go along, you can always type them into your question bar and we'll try to get everyone's questions answered as we go along, especially if it's property related. So Malika, I'm gonna ask you to jump in again and talk about the properties.
Okay. So the first property we're going to talk about tonight is 421 Donna. That's in Clarksville, Tennessee. This property is in a good neighborhood. Not too far from Post, not as close as some of my other properties, but not at the same time, not, too far from Post. This property has recently been leased out. It was leased out last week. It's on a 12-month lease at $925 a month rent. It's a 3-bedroom, a bath and a half. I know that says 2 bath, but it's really a bath and a half. It's a half a bathroom in the master. Really close to a park. It's like a park right behind the house on the left-hand side. So like, the kids can like walk to the park, get on the swing set and the slide and everything like that. So that's why that house was so easy to rent and get leased up really quickly. It's been renovated, has new appliances, stainless steel appliances. It has new flooring. It's like hardwood laminate flooring, but carpet in the bedroom. So it's really cute. And like I said, it was recently leased out. So whoever wants to put an offering on this property, you already have a tenant in that property. Here's another property that we have, which is located in Oak Grove, and this is on Churchill Drive. Now, this property is not renovated as of yet. They will be getting started on this property pretty soon. They're finishing up another property, and when that one is like 2 weeks from being complete, then they will jump on this one and get started on the renovations on this property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 bath. It has a garage on it, but the garage, if you go behind that tree, that's where the garage is. But they have converted that to like a little shop, a workshop or something. But what the contractor is going to do is going to convert it back to a garage. So it will have a 1-car garage on it, and it will be completely renovated, new flooring, new fresh paint, new appliances, new light fixtures. Like it'll be, brought up to updated, and it'll look really nice once, we're finished with the renovations on that one. That one is close to Post, so it's going to be easy to rent and staying occupied because, it's desirable for those who are in the military that want to live close to Post. So that's a great property. And like I said, the renovations on that one hopefully will be completed by the end of next month. That's what the goal is. Okay, this is another property. This one is in Oak Grove as well. Um, on Sideline Drive, very close to Post. So it's going to be easy to rent because, tenants that desire to live close to Post will, be interested in this property. This one is available to you wholesale. Um, so the ideal of it is, like Kristen was telling you earlier, when you purchase a property wholesale, you will have to, and I can assist you, but find a contractor to go out and put a bid on the property, let you know how much it would, cost to get it up to par and rent ready and everything. And then once you do that, it'll take, a couple of weeks or to get that done. And then we'll start marketing the property for rent so we can find you a tenant to place you a tenant in this property. Um, if no one, wants to purchase this property wholesale, the next option would be we would make it Marshall Reddick rent ready. We will go ahead and do the rehab ourselves and then offer the property to you. But that it's totally up to you if you want to buy it wholesale. I would love to help you find a contractor to help you get the property up to code. I mean up to par, and I will help them pick out the colors and pick out the flooring and everything so your property will look nice and be desirable and easy to rent. And Caskey is located in Clarksville. Now, this property is not as close to Post as some of the other properties, but that's okay because sometimes we have tenants that don't want to live close to Post. It's kind of sort of like, I work on Post all day, so when I leave work, I don't want to be around that area. So I want to live 20, 25 minutes out. So this would be perfect for that client that doesn't want to live, close to post. Now, I know you might be saying, like, well, why does she always say close to post, close to post? And like every tenant that, she has is military. Not every tenant is military, but majority of them are. So I just relate a lot to, the military and the tenants that want to live close to post. But they're not all military, but majority of them are. So, but that is going to be a great property that's offered to you as well, as wholesale. If you want to purchase that property wholesale and be responsible for finding the contractor and getting everything rehab. But if not, once again, we will rehab it ourselves, and then it'll be offered to you as a Marshall Reddick rent ready. So a lot of different options, a lot of different opportunities for investment. It just really depends on what you're looking for in this market.
Thanks, Malika. Before we move on to the next property, I did just want to point out really quickly that for both of these wholesale option properties, we did post them under the pretense of a conventional finance option. But also keep in mind that for something like this, there would be private money options for the fix and flip aspect of wholesale option, or of course, some of our clients will pay cash for these properties, and then when the rehab is complete, do a refinance and put a conventional loan to that property. So there are multiple different options. And, certainly if you're interested in a property like this or acquiring a property in this capacity, we can certainly talk through in some more detail what those options look like. But for now, I just wanted to put that out there, and we'll move right along to the next property.
So this particular property, I guess it's good news in some type of way, but it could be bad for others. This was a property that we had found on the MLS, and it's a standard sale, but it's already under contract. I actually have one of my clients, that's a Marshall Reddick client, that wanted to put an offer in on this property. So we did that today. However, the property is in multiple offer status. So I won't know if my client got their offer accepted until sometime tomorrow. So, the properties are very, very, they go quick here. We just found this property and already it's like in multiple offer status. So this goes to show you that when properties are at a good deal like this, how quickly they go. So if you see a property that you're interested in, you need to move swiftly on submitting an offer, getting an offer in, because they go very quickly. So when they go into multiple offer status, it's like a back and forth bidding war. So hopefully our offer wins and my client would get their offer accepted. Here's another standard MLS listing. This in Oak Grove. This one is I think the list price is $89,900. Now this one is a 3-bedroom, bath and a half, and it's in Oak Grove, and it is one of those properties that's close to post. So all my houses that are like close to post, I always say that going to be very desirable for that military tenant that's looking for something. And this just gives you an example of what you're looking at on MLS versus when you're buying a property directly from Marshall Reddick. That's a Marshall Reddick rent ready. So the list price on this one is $89,999, and you're looking at $850 on the rent. So you'll be able to get that house will easily rent for $850. And let's see. So you have some repairs. MLS listings, when we put an offer in, the seller does not have to fix anything. Now, when you're buying a property from Marshall Reddick and there's an issue, we try our best to get it fixed and get it resolved for you. But when you're dealing with the standard MLS, a lot of times the seller, they just don't want to pay for certain things. They might pay for some things, but there's some things that they might just say that they're not going to pay for. So I do want to let you know that, so you'll understand that if we put an offer in on a standard MLS and we get the home inspection back and there's certain things wrong and we ask for a repair request, they can decline it and move on and accept the next person's offer, because that's how this market is. There's so many other people putting offers in that they don't just have to accept it.
All right, thanks, Malika. Just kind of rounding out the property portion. Here's a little snapshot of what the market looks like currently. You see the current median home price here at $143,300. So it's definitely one of the most affordable markets for our investors right now. What I really want you guys to focus on is the appreciation trend. That blue line is what has actually happened in the market over the last 20 years, and the gray line is the average. So that's the trend line that you see. So one of the things that we really, really like about this market, that our investors really like about this market, is that that blue line doesn't move very much. There's some other markets across the country where that graph looks more like a ride at Six Flags Magic Mountain than something like this. And so Clarksville is very steady Eddie, very low risk, and has really hedged against any kind of major crash in the last 20 years. So we really, really like this area for that reason. The properties maintain their value very, very well, and it's a very strong rental market also. So you can see the numbers also over to the side. No huge jumps, but also no huge decreases either. So the steady Eddie nature of this market and the affordability makes it one that's very, very popular for our people. So we're going to do a quick poll, since you guys have had the opportunity to see some property and what we offer. So we are going to find out what people are interested in. So what type of property, after seeing those options, most interest you? Is it the rent-ready option? Is it the wholesale option, or the traditional MLS listing? Really curious to see what all of our folks out there are looking for, and that really helps us tailor our inventory so that we have what everyone is looking for to present and to offer. So I'll give you guys just a couple more seconds. I've got a lot of answers so far, so a couple more seconds for everybody who's struggling a little bit to get their vote in. And 3, 2, 1, let's close it out and share. Let's see how we did. So 64% are leaning towards the rent ready. Not gonna lie, that would be my favorite category as well. I'm more of that don't want to be involved very much investor. Once everything is said and done, I just want to kind of skate along and collect a check. So way to go, 64%. 21% are interested in the wholesale. Also a good option if you have the time and the funds available. Good way to build the equity on your own. And 14% are looking at that traditional MLS listing. So luckily, we have the option for everybody, and regardless of what your favorite was, we can definitely help you out there. I know you guys are eager to get into the meat and potatoes of the rest of the presentation, learn a little bit more about the market. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Malika, I'm going to send it back to you, and we'll keep right on going.
So for those of you who don't know exactly where Clarksville is located, I'm sure you've heard of Nashville. So Clarksville is like 45 miles north of Nashville. So to drive to Nashville is like a 45-minute drive, and you just hit I-24 and you're right in Nashville. So Clarksville gets a lot of the trickle down effect. So Nashville is like a metro, it's growing, it's booming, and everything is expanding. And because of that, Clarksville gets a lot of that momentum. So it feeds down to us. Actually, in the past, I say year and a half, I would say 45 to 50% of my clients that I deal with are migrating here from Nashville. The cost of living is so expensive in Nashville that they rather relocate and live in Clarksville and then just commute back and forth to work to Nashville because it's more affordable, for the cost of living here in Clarksville versus Nashville. So that's what's happening. We're getting a lot of the boom from Nashville. So a short drive and you're in Nashville from Clarksville. And from Clarksville to Oak Grove is 5 minutes. Smooth transaction. Every time I do a tour, people don't realize that I'm like, oh, we're already in Kentucky. And they're like, what? We're on the same street. Yep, but we're in Kentucky though. Clarksville consists of two counties, Montgomery being the main county, and then Stewart County. I really don't do a lot of any kind of real estate business on the Stewart County side. I like to stick to the Montgomery County side. So the properties that we will have available to you will be in Montgomery for Tennessee and Christian County for Oak Grove. Those are the two counties that we do most of our real estate business in is Montgomery and Christian County. So this is just a chart to kind of give you an idea of the population here in Clarksville. The population here, 285,602. Median age is 30.9, and then the median income is around 55,000 a year. And that's just some statistics that we, pulled up to kind of give you a little information, a little bit more insight on this Clarksville and Oak Grove, Kentucky area. Home ownership rate, 57.9%. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the home ownership here. We do have a lot of military personnel who, they move here and maybe they do a tour here for like 4 years. And so they end up buying a home through VA. They'll buy a home and they'll live in that home while they're here on that tour. But then they might get deployed or PCS somewhere else. So then like their property will go into property management. Sometimes they'll sell it. Sometimes they want to list their property and sell it and get rid of it. But sometimes they'll say, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and hold on to this property and put it in property management and rent it out. So we do have, a pretty good amount of people in this area that do own homes, although we have a lot of people as well that are renting homes as well. The median home price is $143,300, and the unemployment rate is 3.7. Now let's talk about this 143.3. I know most investors, when we're looking to invest, we want to find properties that are under 100,000. And $100,000 properties are great. There's a lot of them here, but as we get, as years go by, they're kind of creeping up a little bit. They used to be, under 100,000, but now they're getting, they're creeping up to that 140 because I think this number is going to be changing soon. I think that median home price in the next couple of years is going to be shifting up towards the 180s because that's just where I see the market going. Unemployment rate is 3.7, which is not bad. We have a lot of different job opportunities here. So I see that maybe changing here in the future because we have so many different job opportunities here, and I think we're going to get into that next. So as you can see, we have several big plants and companies here in this area that are drawing and pulling a lot of people here. That's one of the reasons why this market does so well in real estate and in property management and renting properties and selling properties and all that good stuff, because it's bringing a diverse set of people here to this area, not just the military, but we have LG Electronics, which is a newer company that are always having job fairs. They have job fairs like at least I think every month, or maybe, yeah, I would definitely say every month they have a job fair and they're hiring so many people. And then we also have the Google plant. When Google first started, came to this area, they wasn't going to hire very many people because they were going to be a smaller office. But then I think once they did move here and they got the feedback and they saw that, you know, how this town was growing, they decided to expand, and they actually expanded the Google building. And so now, you know, they have more employees. So that brought a lot of jobs here to this area as well. Hankook Tires. Hankook Tires is a Korean company. And a lot of, you know, Koreans moved to this area because they were working for Hankook as engineers and different management positions. And so, you know, and they needed, you know, properties to rent. They were looking for property so they can bring their families here and everything. So there's just a lot of different companies that are very popular, and people want to work there because they pay good. Train is a really good HVAC company that is here, that have a lot of different shifts. So, you know, the more shifts they have, the more employees they have. Let's go to the next slide. Tanova is expanding. That is the medical center here. It used to be Gateway, but Tanova merged with Gateway and they're expanding. What I mean by expanding is everywhere I turn, there's a different medical center or a different Tanova urgent care, Tanova emergency room. Like on exit 11 in the Sango area, they built just exclusively an emergency room for that side of town. And then on this side of town where I'm at, where I live at, which is like exit 1 area, they built an urgent care center. And then you have on exit 8, which is kind of in the middle, you have the actual big medical center. So they're expanding and they're bringing their traveling nurses here. We have properties that companies want to rent, like the bigger properties, the 4-bedroom properties. They want to rent them for like 2 years, where the company actually pays the rent every month. So they do the lease. You're in the contract with them, but they have them for their traveling nurses. And the traveling nurses come in like teams, and they're on teams for like 12 weeks at a time. So they come in, they do their work and everything like that. And after that, you know, another group comes in. So they want the bigger houses. They're looking for like the 4 bedrooms with 3 bathroom houses so that they can have a place for their nurses. Austin P, of course, you know, Austin P University is here. So that's where all your instructors and professors and student teachers, like they train, and, you know, there's employment there, Bridgestone, Ajero. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of jobs, a lot of growth here in Clarksville. And that's why this market does so well, not just in real estate, but even on the property management side, leasing up the properties. Fort Campbell, second largest military base in the world, and it's still expanding. Every time I turn around, they're adding on to the military base. So we have a lot of people that get sent here. They do their tours here, but I will also tell you this: it's a revolving door. So you have people and military personnel that's coming here to this area, but they're also leaving. But as soon as they leave, you get another flock of them in. So I call it the revolving door. We also have drought season. What is deployment season? Some people call it deployment season. I call it drought season, because when deployment season happens, it's like everybody's getting orders and they're leaving. So they turn in 30-day notices that, they're going to leave, but then you get the boom effect. So no sooner than you get those 30-day notices, you have other people coming in and they need a place to live and they got so many days to find a place because they're getting stationed here. So it's like that revolving door. So we have it, as you can see, if you look at all the different jobs, all the different companies, the military base, Clarksville is definitely growing. I've been here now for 8 years, and it has tremendously grown since I've been here. And I can just see it getting bigger and bigger. Not only from the trickle down effect flow that we're getting from Nashville, just the expansion of it. How the subdivisions they're building and the jobs they're bringing here. So very lucrative in this area.
Thank you, Malika. For those of you who are looking for a little bit more of that kind of nitty-gritty information, we do have a free market data packet for the Clarksville market. You can find it on our website. As I mentioned, it's a free download, and this is going to be graphs and charts and just pages and pages of data that we've pulled from several different sources and compiled it all together for our clients who are interested in this market. Me personally, I'm a visual person, so I love to look at the different, graphs and charts and colors that kind of show me, this is what's happening here. This is how it's changed from the year prior. All that kind of stuff so that you guys can actually have a really solid understanding of the different industries in the market, the economics, the demographics, and that's going to dive even farther into detail than we did tonight on the presentation. So please feel free and take advantage of that and all the other sources and tools on our website. So what's next? I mentioned early on that I am a realtor and an advisor here at Marshall Reddick Real Estate. So here's a few fun facts about me. And some of you might be wondering, Kristen, why does your role matter to us and why is it important? Well, my role as an advisor is to work with our clients to talk about your goals, your experience, your criteria, what you're hoping to accomplish by building a real estate portfolio, and build a plan that you can put into action. So we dive into things like how much money you have now that you want to invest with. Are you going to pay cash? Are you going to finance? What's your purchase price? What are you hoping to, like I said, what are you hoping to gain from building your rental portfolio? And we are going to put that all together and take the next steps into your market, connecting with the team, et cetera, based on what it is that you're looking for. So as I mentioned, I own property in 4 of our Marshall Reddick markets. And in the last 4 years, I've helped 211 people close on investment properties, both here in California, where I am located personally, and across the nation, with a very high number of those transactions being with Malika in Clarksville. So as I mentioned, I'm always happy to share my experience. I love to, talk about real estate, bounce ideas around, and you can schedule your consultation with me directly. My information's here on the screen, or you can go through the website and click on consultation, and you can get set up that way as well if you're interested and you want to take that next step to, having that conversation. So this is basically what your consultation is going to look like. I covered a few of these points. We definitely want to discover what your buying power is, what your options are, what your timeline is, and finally, put all of those criteria into a market that makes sense. So for many of you on the line, that'll mean we're going to connect with Malika in Clarksville. We're going to get connected with our lender who is licensed in all of our investment states. And we're going to get all of those connections made so that you're comfortable and confident moving forward with your investment property that is located across the country. So what is the point of creating a plan? Some of you out there might be thinking, I don't need a plan, I'm just going to do it. Well, because you want to map it out and you want to have something that's concrete and attainable. And ultimately, we want to create something that looks maybe like this. So this is my personal real estate portfolio. And you can see that we started investing back in 2006. And with a plan of acquiring inventory every 18 to 24 months, we've been able to build a pretty, a pretty good portfolio at this point. And while we continue to build and continue to save, we've also diversified into a couple of hard money loans, sold a property, purchased many, and single families, duplexes. So as you build, there's an opportunity also to create some diversity, expand into different markets, and really come up with a portfolio that works for you and what your goals are. So if you guys are ready and willing and able, or even if you're just getting started and you want to learn more about Marshall Reddick and learn more about the Clarksville market, you can contact me directly, or you can contact Malika directly as well, of course. And we are always really excited to speak with new people. If you're local to California and Orange County, I always love to meet people here in the office. We don't get many, but if you're local to Tennessee or Kentucky, I know Malika would love to have you visit her in the office as well. And, like I said, we're always really excited to help everybody, regardless of your experience or, your goals. We just want to make sure that we're getting everybody the assistance that they need. So really quick, Malika, there was a question about taxes that I wanted to run by you. From Connor, he asked, is there a property tax advantage to buying in Tennessee versus Kentucky? Can you talk a little bit about that and the difference? I know there's a difference in the state taxes as well.
Okay. Well, as far as the property taxes go, they're about the same, which is like 1%. So we always use the formula of 1% of the purchase price, and that's Tennessee or Kentucky. Now, I will say, as far as state tax go, one of the advantages that some people look at that want to live on the Tennessee side is that Tennessee has no state income taxes. So for, civilians that live on the Tennessee side, there's no state income tax taken out of their paycheck. Now, if you live on the Kentucky side and you are a civilian, you will have taxes taken out, but it's really low. But if you're military, it doesn't matter. They have an agreement because the Army base is actually on both states, Kentucky and Tennessee. So if you're military, there's an agreement and you don't have to pay, whether if you live on the Tennessee side or the Kentucky side. But in reference to property taxes, they're about the same, 1% of the purchase price.
Awesome, thank you. Connor, I hope that answered your question. If not, again, please feel free to email or call either one of us and we can dive a little deeper into anything that we didn't cover. Another question, Malika, and we have a couple minutes, guys. We're going to definitely wrap it up by 7:30. It's 7:25. So if you have questions, last minute things you think of, we'll take a couple of more before we call it a night. So this question is, does the rent always increase at the lease renewal?
It depends. I found that in property management, it's best not to increase your rent every single year, because if you have a tenant that is a great tenant and they're a good tenant and they're taking care of the property and they're paying their rent on time, sometimes a rent increase could be a deal breaker. It could be that factor where they want to put in their 30-day notice and move out because they feel like they can find something for what they're paying now. So, and then sometimes where the market is, if we start off at the higher end of rents and you're already getting that 950 and it's really only worth 950, I don't have anywhere to go. So if we try to jump up to 1,000, then it might be like overpriced and it could be a turnoff for the tenant. So it just really depends. Normally I say every other year makes more sense for an increase. It's every other year versus every year. And I know that, as an investor, you want to increase your rent, but I say do it gradually and do it every other year versus every single year. And in always, if your property is vacant, like if your tenant moves out, that's a great time to increase the rent as well, because that new tenant is just going into it. And so they're going to know up front, like what the rent is versus increasing it on your tenant that's been living there and paying their rent and they just had a increase 12 months ago.
Thanks, Malika. 100% agree. And as a property owner myself, I've found that when your lease renewal comes up, it's always a good idea to chat with management and find out what the current market rate is for rentals in that area, because if it's only gone up maybe $25 or $50 a month, it's going to cost you more if that tenant decides to move out over $25 or $50 than
Absolutely.
it is to their lease at the same amount. So for me personally, like I said, I fully agree with Malika. And if the rent isn't significantly lower than what you could be getting, it's definitely cheaper to keep them. But like I said, your management team will always be a good resource for you because they know the market, they know the areas, and after getting to know your tenants, they're also going to know, what their motivation is, if they really love the property, if they want to stay, if they take good care of it. And those are the type of tenants that you want that ultimately are going to save you money in the long run by keeping them in your property.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So I think that was the last question. It's 7:28, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. You guys have been a great audience, and we really appreciate you joining us tonight. Malika, it is always my absolute pleasure to do presentations with you, whether they are live here in person or via webinar. So thank you so much.
Likewise, and you're very welcome.
To all of our clients, have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to talking with you all tomorrow.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.